Okay, we are live. Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Toomer. I'm a family medicine and community health physician who founded health, wellness, and weight loss centers. And I also created Whole You Total Weight Loss and Total Wellness Plus Weight Loss. And those are programs that I use a biopsychosocial system for in order to help people maximize their health and wellness through weight loss in a space that's compassionate and where there's no judgment, there's no shame. And I have invited, or we got together, Dr. Tawanna Gilliard, who is, as I call her, a women's wellness whisperer because that's what she does, and because our messages overlap and they work really well together. And she's also a part of my program. I just invited her to come and talk to us a little bit about what she's done, how the programs have helped her, and then we'll talk a little bit in the end about what her programs are because we want to make sure that you learn all the things that she has to offer because she has some good stuff. So, all right, go ahead and introduce yourself,
Hi,
Tawana.
Dr. Toomer. Hello,
Hi.
everyone. I'm so excited to be here to just put it all on the line. I am very transparent. I love Dr. Toomer and her programs. She is the whisperer of weight loss and wellness. She gave me that nickname, but we can share it because she truly has a gift for what she does. And I'm just excited to be here with her.
Right. So we're going to talk a little bit, and then if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, and hopefully we will see them. Um, and so, first off, I just want to explain a little bit about the program. I have three different programs. One is a one-on-one program that I help people one on one. Then the other is a group program, which is the where Dr. Gilliard and I met. And then I have now a medication program to help people who are having difficulty getting on some of the weight loss medications, the newer ones that are out there. And I've studied it, I figured it out, I got it so that I can get 100% coverage. Well, not so much coverage, but 100% for people I prescribe. And so I created a program just for that. So, and I just want to say hi. Hi, Donna. How are you? So, um, so tell me what made you decide? What was it that made you decide to sign up for total wellness and weight loss?
Okay, I think it's important to kind of give a little backstory about this
Okay.
journey because this has definitely been a journey. I've always felt like I've struggled with my weight throughout my life, even when I was 100 pounds lighter. Put that in your mind, sizzle, let that sizzle in your spirit. I was struggling at 100 pounds lighter, and it was always this self-confidence issue. Even though I probably didn't have a major problem back then, I made it a major problem. But as I got a little bit older, I've tried every program that there is out there to try. And as humans, a lot of times we look for the quick fix. Like, okay, I just need to get off 50, I need to get off 10 just quickly. So I've tried it all. I'm not going to name them, but you all know the big
Yeah.
brands that are out there and some of the ones that are pretty popular right now, but I have literally tried them all. And I've been successful where I would lose. At one time, I lost like 50 pounds, doing great. And then I derailed myself and started back on that upward climb. My health became an issue. The reason why I looked at this program, I was just coming off another program I was just not successful. The first week, I think I dropped 14 pounds, and the next week, I was right back up because it was like if you did any type of cheating, any cars came into the picture, it was like, boop, I'm back because it just
And we know we love our carbs.
wasn't carbs. Yes. And so I was at a mindset of where I was really taking an intentional look at my life and the changes I needed to make. Wellness at the core is in my heart. And I realized that there are so many more components to this journey than just a fad diet. And Dr. Toomer and I are in the same business school. And I've seen her around, but you know how you hear someone, but you're not really listening? And I heard her and listened intently to her message. And I was like, I like her. I believe in energies. And my spirit of discernment says this woman knows what she's doing. The way she gave it to you was so gentle, and how she incorporated so many pillars. I can't remember exactly what she calls them in her program, but so many avenues or things that play a part in you being successful. And so I needed the total package, as she calls it, and not just, okay, this is the formula you're going to do and this you're going to lose weight. Yes, I may would have, but I had to look at how I managed my stress, how, like, and that includes, like, managing my depression and anxiety, how I, looked at my sleep. Everything goes back to your cortisol level, and everything is an inflammatory process. So if you're not controlling that, it just goes totally out of whack. And so her program really just made me be mindful of looking at all the components for me being successful. And yes, it is a journey. We have a special scale that we use that I love. I just have to mention that. And you can actually watch it's like this, it goes up and down, up and down. And I can tell when I'm having a
Mhm,
stressful time in my life and how it starts to climb back up. So,
mhm.
yes. So it's just been a beautiful process of just being intense on the journey and looking at all of the components.
And what would you say is what was the most surprising part that you discovered during your process and during just as part of the program?
How I don't want to say the word easy, because it's not an easy journey, but it doesn't have to be as hard as some programs make it to be.
Mhm,
And I had to realize that I didn't have to, like, oh, I can't eat another piece of bread ever in life for me to get this weight off. It wasn't that process. And how gentle it was. Your skill set of how you present information. I'm a whole board certified physician, and she can present some of the most simplest of things that I know. And I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, that formula will work. Carbs minus protein plus fat. I got to stay at zero or negative to make sure there's a balance. And
mhm,
so just the click, and how simple it truly is when you get it in your brain, and how every time I eat now, it's like I'm doing this calculation just so I can keep the balance. So just how easy, I hate that I'm using that word,
mhm.
but how
Re-
pliable,
relatable.
relatable this
Yes.
process
Yeah.
is for the everyday person, not
Yes.
just physicians.
Well, my goal was for it to become intuitive so that as you do it more and more and more, you don't have to think about it anymore. And so I often say it's not an exciting process. When it's done properly, it's not exciting. It's actually quite slow, but it's permanent. And if any of you who may have known me 20 years ago know that I was 100 pounds heavier than I am right now. And I needed it to be a program where I wouldn't be more tired and more stressed trying to do it. And I'm glad to hear that that played through and that I actually was successful in that. Um, so, what is your favorite part of this program and your journey?
The favorite part is that this is something that I feel like I can do for a lifetime. So it's not me looking at this as, okay, this is an 8-week program. I'm going to suffer through, and we're going to get there. And then, I'll take a break and then go back again and suffer through again. It's That's my favorite part, is that I have just made this a part of my life, and it's just what I do. And yes, it is a slow process, which I don't necessarily like all the time, but I keep telling myself it needs to be slow. But I have been successful. I've lost 26 pounds so far. And so, yeah, I would love for it to come off a lot quicker, but it goes along with the plan. So my favorite part is that you do see success, and it's just a gentle course. Like, I don't feel like I'm fighting and struggling so much with it. The fight is usually with myself, of knowing that slow and steady wins the race. So that's the fight that I personally sometimes put on myself, and I have to slow myself down.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we often talk about is that it is a multi-pronged approach. And like I said, biopsychosocial. So you have to address the biology, you need to address the psychology, and you need to address the sociology. So whatever you do has to improve your health. It needs to improve your moods and improve your emotional well-being, but it also needs to not disrupt your family life, not disrupt your social life with your friends. If you're on doing any process where you suddenly have to remove yourself from situations, it's probably the wrong process. Or if you do a process where you can't sleep or you're hungry all the time, or and one of the things I want to talk about, and you can add to this if you'd like, the use of medications. I've been seeing a lot of shaming going on with people using medications to help with their weight loss. And what I try to explain is they're not taking the medication to help with their weight loss. They are taking it to address the reason they're gaining it in the first place. And in addressing the weight gain and the cause of that weight gain, the weight does come off. And it's protective. Fat cells cause inflammation. The medications help counter cortisol, which also cause inflammation. It also helps in regulating insulin, which our body uses to make fat. And so if any other disease state, which this is, it's insulin resistance is actually what I'm talking about. In any other disease state, when we take medication, no one expects you to have to stop it when it controls the disease that is being taken for. So, can you talk a little bit about that and just your journey to that point and some of the psychological pitfalls? Sorry for the binging. I don't know how to stop it. I keep hearing binging going on. Some of the pitfalls and also some of the benefits and what you've been seeing with any medications that have been useful for you.
I will tell you that on this journey, a lot of times we feel like it is a weakness or failure when you yourself personally can't accomplish something. I used that same philosophy when I was dealing with my depression and anxiety. And I would constantly go on the medicine. I would take myself off. I was like, you should be strong enough to fight this. We can pray through this. We can do this. The Lord blessed us with physicians and a whole society of people who created medications to help us. And so I had to truly strip away the shame of anything that I may need as a tool to help me on this course. Um, well, most people kind of know my story. Some people may not. I suffer from ulcerative colitis and I end up losing my colon. And so my whole second brain is gone. My microbiome is gone. And so without my colon, it became very difficult for me to keep the weight off. And I was trying everything to do it, and I checked my hemoglobin A1C and it was just steadily climbing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is becoming such a hard task. And so I was even looking at weight loss surgery. I was looking at medications. And the way Dr. Toomer introduced the medications to me, it just made it make sense to me that this is a tool. Because at first, for the longest time, like, oh no, not doing anything like that. And I realized that I needed the tool, something to fight my insulin resistance. I still have to do the work as far as exercising, managing how I'm eating, taking care of my sleep, managing my depression and anxiety. It's just one of the tools that I have added to this journey. I started on Ozempic. Personally did not do well with Ozempic. That was not my friend. And I'm now on Manjaro, which I'm doing so much better on. And it truly has been a tool to help my cravings for like the carbs and the desire to eat all the bread, the sugar.
Mhm.
So um, I'm very grateful for coming to that realization and that clarity of thought to know that tools are placed here to help us. We just
Yes.
put ourselves in a dark hole if we don't use what's up.
Yes. And I'm a firm believer in using all the tools at your disposal, and it's not cheating. And when we say medication, we're not talking about Adipex or phentermine. We're not talking about appetite suppressants, but medications that actually go to the cause of why weight is put on. Everyone talks a lot about hormones. And what these medications do is they help regulate your hormones. Now, of course, when people say hormones, especially for women, they're thinking estrogen, or they talk about men, it's testosterone. But insulin's a hormone. Your thyroid makes a hormone. Your thyroid hormone is a hormone. Cortisol is a hormone. So regulating all those things are important, and that's what these medications do. And so what often happens is it's sort of like how when you're about to go on a journey in a car, when you first hit the accelerator, that first accelerator, you have to push a little harder. But then when you get to the cruising speed, you don't have to as much. And that's exactly what medications do. They help get you to that first movement so that you can start cruising and other things can take over. So, who wouldn't this be for? Is there anyone who would just say, this probably isn't for you?
I would say the program's not for someone who's just looking for like a quick fix, like, oh, I'm trying to get into this dress by next week. I need a program to help me starve myself. This is not the program for you. If you're someone who is ready to do a 180 on your thought process and how you walk this journey, this is the course for you. Slow and steady wins the race. Fast weight usually returns fast. Slow weight can stay off, and so that's who I would say it's not for. It's not for the rabbit.
In more ways than one. I often, and you can attest to this, people always ask me, well, can I eat? And before they even get it out, I'm like, yes. It's like, just eat whatever you want. It's
Right,
not what you eat, it's how you eat it, and and in what amounts. So whatever you want to eat, you can eat it. There's a way that you can get around the the pitfalls of certain foods, including carbohydrates, including sweets if you want them. Of course, though, understanding that sugar does add to inflammation, and so if that's a problem for you, of course, avoiding sugar is beneficial. But um, I like food, and I think food is a it's something that we gather around. It's a social time. And when people say, but I emotionally eat, we all emotionally eat. That's what Thanksgiving
yes,
is emotional eating. It's a day of emotional eating. And so, those are things they're nothing wrong. And that's one of the things that I hope you've got the message, and the message I get out to everyone else. There's nothing wrong with any of us. And that's what we've been told. When I was overweight, I was just told basically lose weight. Every time I went to the doctor for any reason, lose weight. But no one said how.
right, right,
Or it's just you're eating too much, you're not exercising enough, you're not. Well, when I needed to lose weight, I had congestive heart failure. I still have congestive heart failure. So exercising is limited. And so there has to be some other way. And although, building muscle helps, but what if you can't do that? Then what?
right, right.
So,
And I have seen her eat, people. We were at a conference together, and I was like, at first I was nervous about her being there, and I was like, oh gosh, I got to sit at the table with Dr. Toomer. Lord have mercy. Ooh, she's gonna be looking at my plate, and then I looked at her plate, and I'm just like, this lady is eating. But she has a whole process and program of how she loads her plate with the vegetables and the protein. And yes, she will have some carbs, but it's much smaller. And once the vegetables and proteins are gone, she stops eating the carbs. I mean, she just has a whole process of how she does things. And it just made it so much more comfortable. Like some
mhm.
programs I was in, there was no way I could eat with a person who who runs the program because I like
Not to mention the dessert we were having afterwards.
desserts.
Well, and that's something that I'm actually quite proud of, and that is that whatever process you're in, you shouldn't It shouldn't be so obvious to other people that if they decide they want to sabotage you, they know exactly how.
Right.
And one of the things that happens with us is that it's not obvious. We eat like everybody else. It's just the order, it's the
Mhm.
amount, it's the combination, it's the pairing. You know, people talk about wine pairing. I always talk about carb pairing. What do you pair with that carb so you can eat it? What
Right.
protein and what healthy fat? Um, so, talk a little bit about the wellness component because that is your area. Um, how do you feel wellness has played into your success? Because you have been successful. You are actually the epitome of what this program is supposed to be.
Well, thank you. I'm working hard at it. How wellness played a role. The one thing about Dr. Toomer is that she brought other people in to talk about other components that play a role in causing stressors. And that's why our lanes kind of cross because that is what I do as well. So she brought someone in who did, Dr. Reshmi, who did meditation with us. We had someone talk about was it hypnosis, someone talk about finances. um, Gosh, there were so many organization. There were so many different components that she brought in to bless her group to say, yes, I know these are pain points and I am speaking to those as well. So for me, that was a home run because that is right up my alley of wellness because I believe in just, I work from my pain points. I don't know if this is a place that I can slide on in for Cornerstone of Wellness, but actually,
Absolutely. I want everyone to know what it is you do and how you help, especially since I'm benefiting as well from you. So I'd love for other people to hear about it.
so the company I founded is a Cornerstone of Wellness, and you can find it on cornerstoneofwellness.com. The reason why I chose Cornerstone is because biblically, the cornerstone is mentioned and in construction. The cornerstone is the first stone that is set. It is the strongest piece of the foundation. And the way I look at women, we are the cornerstones for our families, on our jobs, in this society. If any men are on here, I'm sorry, but we run the world. And so if we are fractured or flawed or not at our optimal place, how can we really give to others? And I've seen so many women function out of this cupless, this empty cup mentality. And
Mhm.
especially my sisters, my Mocha sisters, African Americans, women, especially professional women. So, like in my profession, we are like the 2%ers. We are unicorns. And I like to provide a space for Black women, Mocha women to come together so I can pour into them with surviving my pain points, financial disaster, getting ready to finish residency, to become an attending and having hundreds and thousands of dollars of debt, and then they ruin my credit and now being debt free, owning my home, my mom's home, and now being a millionaire. I'll just put it out there. So that's a blessing. I did all that within like 10 to 15 years to the point of like managing my depression and anxiety to now, to own this journey of managing my health as far as my weight. Um, just really pouring into women and providing a space where we can take the mask off to get our cups filled up and for us to start living in a place of the saucer ministry. You should only be giving from your overflow, not
Yes,
from your cup.
absolutely. Well,
So,
we have a question,
oh,
and I'm
great.
just going to read it off here. It says, Dr. Toomer, do you have patients who have autoimmune conditions who have done well on your program? Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, the reason I designed the program, it was specifically for people who have chronic diseases because that's what I needed. At the time I created it, I wasn't on insulin. I was an insulin dependent diabetic. I had just been diagnosed with pregnancy related congestive heart failure, and I was very overweight. My BMI was over 40. And anyone in medicine or other knows that that's morbid obesity. And so, um, and I had no energy because I couldn't breathe. My heart was working at about 15% its capacity. And so I needed something easy, but that would help reverse some of those things. And so many people I've worked with have said their medications have dropped. They feel so much better. They're sleeping better. Their cravings go away, which is really driven a lot by inflammation.
Yes.
They're all the same process. It's all on the same continuum. They're just different symptoms on the same continuum. And so, yes, absolutely. I've had many people tell me who've had arthritis that they've done so much better. And I do not shy away from illness because this isn't a program that's dependent on physical activity because I wasn't able to do physical activity at the time I created it. It helps, but it's not the thing. So what I say is we create multiple streams of weight loss so that if any one of those streams is either fails or I don't like to use that word, if you're unable or if you're just not possible,
That's
then
right.
you have all these others to fit
Right.
and work. And so you never go back ever because you know how to pivot on each one of those streams.
Right.
And that's what's most important. And that's why I've been able to lose weight over the years and keep it off for over 20 years now. And I'm now 57 years old. And I say this because, and I can post a picture of what I used to look like. Actually, there's no picture of me at my heaviest. I hid from cameras. But I'm actually the same weight I was in high school right now, which I never in a million years thought that was going to ever happen. But I'm healthy. Now, I say weight as if that's something, but really what it is that my health is at its optimal right now. I survived two things that should have killed me, but I didn't. And that's because what I do and what I've done helps focus and reverse, if we can, chronic diseases that cause issues. Now, I see there's a couple of things.
I just
When,
mentioned about the autoimmune. I have
okay,
arthritis. I have ulcerative colitis, and I have a lot of inflammation and inflammatory type issues, and it all and starts to improve. So yes, this is the program for you to help you on that course.
okay. Well, I'm going to read this next question. It says, when both a husband and a wife both need to lose weight, but one of the spouses is not fully convinced or could be in denial, how do you recognize moving forward? Okay. One of the things, you can't do anything for somebody, and you can't want something for something more than they want it for themselves. So what you can do is lead by example, and that's the only thing you can do. You lead by example in a way so that they start seeing the benefits of what you're doing, and then they want to follow. And one of the ways you do that is what I call deconstructing a process. So when you make meals so that everybody can get what they want. It's one meal. Don't make it more complicated. So you make sure you have one protein, you have a protein, you have a vegetable, and you have a carbohydrate. You decide how you're going to cook it, how you're going to season it, and then everyone picks and chooses what they want out of that. You can drop your carbs, eat more protein than the vegetables. If someone else wants to eat the carbs and not as much of the protein, that's on them. But at least it's there. And so when they start making those changes, it becomes really easy because it's already in front of them. And but I can tell you, you can't push anybody into it. You just have to do it yourself and then let them follow when they see the benefits. And there's always benefits, especially in a couple. And this is something I really emphasize, especially for those of us who've gone through menopause. We understand this. When you eat properly, or when you have the causes of your weight gain controlled, your libido goes up. And everyone in a marriage understands how that can enhance a marriage. I mean, that's not a secret. So,
I'm
yeah.
laughing because you're correct.
So that's all. I'm just, and when they see that, when usually in a spouses, when they start having that benefit, they're like, all right, I'm going to jump in here too. And it's, I mean, not to be crass in any way, but that's the truth. I mean, that's part of marriage. And, when you enter into any process that causes an increase in your health, every part of your healthy parts of your body and what your body can do get better.
And with
I'm
this
going
program, because Dr. Tumor, you're not really you can still eat all the foods. It's just how you eat the foods. So I'm the primary cook in my family. And so I just make sure that our meals are loaded with protein, veggies, and I still do a
mhm.
my husband doesn't eat that much of, but he's even started losing some weight just by me changing what I'm putting in front of them. Like even if I make chicken burgers, I eat mine with a lettuce wrap instead of the bread because I just don't crave bread like that anymore. And my daughter would try a bite and she'd be like, well, no, I want the bun. I don't, that's fine. But I think it's like she said, just leading by example. He sees me working and he's actually, I think, lost 8 pounds so far. So
Um, Hello. Would your program work for someone who truly needs simplicity? Absolutely, because you're looking at someone who needs simplicity. I don't do hard. I just don't. I mean, I don't have willpower. I don't have discipline. And I knew that right off the bat. So anything that I did had to be simple and had to be something that I could do relatively easily. Um, and so and it has to fit into your life. So you look at what your life is, you decide how you're going to slip it in so that it it belongs to you. You don't belong to it.
yes,
It's yours. And so whatever you do now, you have to be able to do in your 90. So it can't be too strenuous, it can't be too rigorous, and it can't be too complicated because otherwise something's going to fall off, something's going to fall away, and all your effort is just going to go away. So it's just really, really important. And I use what I often use what's like just get the memo because MEMO stands for minimal effort for maximum outcome.
yes,
That is my motto. Do as little as possible to get the change that you want. It doesn't have to be difficult. I don't go for bragging rights. Ooh, I just did 50 push-ups. Nice. And that's good if you can do that. But, or I just killed myself, running 5 miles. I know I'll never run 5 miles ever. I can't, even if I wanted to. So, it has to be simple. It has to be yours. And if it's not, and that's one of the things you can, Tawanna can attest to this. One of the first questions I asked, what was the most difficult part? What was the hardest part last week? Because if or whenever from when we talked the last time, because I want to take that and make it easy. Because whatever is difficult, that's what's going to derail you. And so we focus on what's hard so that we can make it not hard.
right. And I've had to change my mindset because I used to be the girl who was in the gym, doing boot camps, beating the chest. Like that was my energy. I thrived off of that. But because of how life has changed, how my body has changed with the arthritis now, there's certain things I can't do anymore without hurting myself. So, like I had a Peloton, I had to let it go because my hand just would not tolerate me holding, and I got a reclining bike. So my mindset now is okay. If I can get on there and watch one episode of one of my shows, that's 30 to 40 minutes, and I pedal. I just do it as simple as I possibly can. I'll do some light weights and call it a week. I just do at the bare minimum something a little bit, at least 3 times a week. But this program can just so easily, once you get the mindset of how it works, it just so easily just becomes a part of your life.
Thank you. And can you just remind people again? Because to be honest, this is the first I've heard about how much weight you've lost. Because I rarely ask. That's the other thing. People are just like, wait, you help people lose weight, but you never ask how much weight you lose. Mainly because I take care of the health and wellness part, knowing that the weight's going to follow. So I don't worry about it because I know that's going to come off. And so, can you tell us? And I know this is a process that's ongoing, so it's not like you've just hit a plateau. You haven't hit a plateau, have you? How much weight have you lost so far?
26 pounds.
Okay.
And
Oh,
it's been this way, it goes.
yeah, it goes up and down, but that's actually how weight is lost. It's a zigzag down, kind of. It's not never a straight line.
And I tell
Um,
myself that when I get the pip up, like if certain things are happening,
yeah.
don't freak out because then you start to derail yourself like, oh,
Hmm.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, no, no,
That's
no.
the mindset stuff.
That's
Yeah.
one moment in time. That's one
Yeah.
breath on the journey, on the road.
Mhm.
You know, we still going. And so, yes, it's just been slowly declining.
I was just trying to see if there's any more questions. No, it looks like we got through them all. And and thank you all for coming and for your questions. And of course, we're both available at any time. Can you tell everyone how they can contact you? And aren't you having a retreat sometime?
Oh, that's right. I am having a Book of Sister revival here in the Charleston area, November 5th, and it'll be from 10 to 3 on that Saturday. And I'm bringing all the things. Dr. Toomer is one of the speakers who's coming. It's right before the holidays. I'm going to ask her to give some tips on how you eat during the holidays and not feel guilty about it. I will be speaking about some financial things. I have another doctor who's coming in, Dr. Asia, who will be talking about because she has autoimmune disease and just talking about the effects of foods on inflammation. We're going to have many spa things going on, facials, all the goodness. And of course, food. Got to have the food there, ladies. So that will be happening for the 1 day retreat here. I just did co-facilitated a beautiful retreat, and Dr. Tuma was a speaker there in Arizona, which was very successful. And I'm in the planning process of doing a retreat next June. International, ladies.
All
International.
right.
Get a
Okay.
step on the table. Yeah. So you can find me at cornerstoneofwellness.com and get on the email list. You can find me on Facebook. Y'all know I'm around. You see me. I'm on TikTok. I'm in these
Oh,
streets.
you're on TikTok, so you're good. So there's a couple of questions. You see, I have to put my glasses on so I can read. Um, so, how are you able to sign up for the program? So, the best way to um, find me is drtoomer.com. That's drtoomer.com and contact. And then just send me a message and just let me know why you're contacting me, and I will get back to you. I try to get back to people within 24 hours. Weekends might be a little not so I may not be able to over the weekends or if I'm at a conference, but I still try my best. And how do you assess the fee? It really just I do an assessment first and determine what it is you need. um, I'm not this isn't cookie cutter, so I don't know. It really just depends on how much you need and what I think you may need, and then it's a partnership, so you decide.
Right.
You decide how much you're comfortable with, what you're comfortable with, what you just like. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that. That's fine. But one of the things that I'm very adamant about, if I cannot help you, I will find someone who can.
Right.
I will find whatever it is you need to fit into because my ultimate goal is that you are healthy. That's my ultimate goal. Not whether I don't have to be the one to help you. As long as if you're on a journey, then I'll help you on that journey, whether it's with me or somebody else.
And she does not push the highest package because I was trying to get the highest package. I was like, no, I want a one-on-one. No, Tawanna, just stay with the group. I think this is good. No, I want to one-on. So she was like, no, I think this is good. Just give it another week. And so that's not her mentality. This is truly her passion. And as you can see, this is what she's created out of her pain and struggles. And so it's successful. So no, she's not that person to just push something on you just trying to make a buck. That's not
We got a comment that says, "Thank you, ladies, for discussing the psych and the social piece. We have to.
Have to, a
You
must.
can't be successful in any process without addressing it. Um, the I the reason I was successful in losing weight is because I treated my depression first. And so therefore I was then motivated to do the rest. Otherwise, I never would have done the rest had I just left my depression to flounder or to become more and more. And I couldn't understand why at first. I wasn't motivated. I wasn't disciplined. And it's because it was depression, postpartum depression, cardiac depression, chronic depression, all thrown together. And it was just a perfect storm of depression. And, um, and so that's why I do look for depression. I screen for depression, anxiety, ADHD are the three most. And then if I find anything, we always talk about ways to address them. Um, because I'm a family physician, I am a doctor first. And so I look for, I do labs, I do screening, and then we address everything I find, either for me to take care of it or for your doctor to take care of it. I write a lot of letters to doctors, make phone calls, do tests, because if I look, I don't just look for reasons for weight gain. I look for everything because I want to make sure that your health is in order and that whatever we do makes you healthier. And I can't do that if I don't know what's there. So, um, are men in your program? Absolutely. Absolutely. Men are in the program. Um, there's more women than men, mainly because the weight loss industry is geared towards women. They focus on women. It's not a really space that has been made comfortable for men, but absolutely. And you know, when doing labs, I test for testosterone and the rest for men because that you know can affect weight gain, and it's part of the hormonal arc that has to be addressed. So yes, I do treat men, and especially now I can say especially diabetes. My other passion is reversing diabetes because I actually did it for myself. Um, well, once a diabetic, always a diabetic, but being able to come off insulin. And to be honest, most of the success that I have with significant, like 100-pound weight loss, is because the person was diabetic and I got them under control.
Wow.
When you get a diabetic under control, their weight drops. And that's why these new medications that have come out are diabetic medications. And that's why they work so well. Because insulin resistance and diabetes are on the same continuum. One's at one end, one's at the other. But how you treat them is the same.
And heart protective. That was one of
Yes.
the things for me is because I was born with a congenital heart condition. I have a pacemaker. Y'all, I've survived a lot. So I'm here for the testimonies. And so when I found out about that part, I was like, oh yes, I'm on board because I need the heart protected.
Yeah. The newer medications that are out are heart protective. In fact, I was placed on it for my heart. I didn't need to lose weight, and I didn't want to lose weight actually, um, which I never thought I'd ever hear myself say. But but I was put on it for my heart because it works really, really well with congestive heart failure, which I still have. So, all right. Well, I wanted to keep this short. I think we kept it under an hour. That's wonderful. And thank you for your questions. Thank you for showing up. This will be, um, this is recorded, so I will be putting it back out for anyone who missed it. You can let them know that they can still get the information. But again, you can find me at drtumor.com. You can find Dr. Gilliard at cornerstoneofwellness.com. And we will be here. And also, you can find us on Facebook. Just ask me. You can DM me. I love answering questions. I love to teach.
The
So you can send me questions, ask me questions, and
They can find you on YouTube as well, correct?
oh yes, I have a YouTube channel, Catherine Harmon Tumor, MD. Yep. That's where I'll be posting a lot of my instructional videos, like informational videos, as well. All right. Well, thank you for coming. And I'm going to end the broadcast now and make sure I know how to do it right. And God bless you too, Donna. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Carol and Tracy and Sharita, Natasha. Oops, I There's some people up. Natalie, I know you are here, and I just appreciate you coming. All right. Good night.
Bye, guys.